About time for another Coach Life. It's a noisy one, so I figure let's talk about noise. A lot of times in life when you're moving through, you're doing you start as a child and then you develop and you learn how to be a young adult and you develop and you're figuring out, let's just pause right there. Let's say you're a teenager, right? Young adult. Let's say you're 18, 19, 20, 21. As you move through life, you form this identity. And if you're healthy, you have multiple identities. In other words, if you're supremely healthy, you only have one, but that's a very small, those are the Buddha, Jesus types, Muhammad. What happens is you're one person at home. At first, home is just one thing. It's not even multiple things. This is how dope the universe, whatever you want to call that ultimate power is, God. This is how dope that is. When you begin, you're just it. When you begin, you don't even know, like, let's say that first day in the hospital, or in my case, in the bathroom. You can't separate mom from dad, from doctor, from bed, from light, nothing. It's all just one thing. And then as you develop, you start to realize, you start to learn, you start to make decisions and feel rewards or consequences or sensations through your five senses. And you start to say, mom, softer, dad, harder. Mom, laughing, dad, serious. Mom, psycho, dad, stability. Doctor, mask. Light, bright, stuff like that. You start to develop understanding. So that's one you. You become a child, and then you crawl and you walk, and you have a certain style of walking, and whether you're adventurous or not, depending on how many stoves you've touched. And then you go ahead and become, let's say, your next graduation from your home self is your school self, where you get your formal education. So even if you're homeschooled, you form another identity when it's school. For a large amount of the public, that schooling requires some mode of transportation. That's another identity. Who you are on the school bus, who you are on the way to school. Did you do your homework? Do you need to cram it? Are you lying to your parents about it? Are you in the back seat like me, like a ninja? Like, no, I did my homework. Just writing on the wall. What you doing back there? Oh, no, this is just notes. Oh, buddy. So check it out, though. You got your home you got your going to school you got your school you, 4 years, 5 years, 8 years, whatever. Those identities have to come to terms with each other. So you might be super passive and cool at home. You go to school, you turn into a wild out because you finally get a chance to exercise that energy. You're like, wow, or you get gassed off of something. Doesn't matter. Those two identities, they at some point they have to clash, or they have to dance and figure out, like, who am I really? What's essential to me? And then that's just the first two levels, home, school. Then after school, you go away. Away is when I've gone over this many, many times, but for some reason, Spirit told me to talk about it today with reference to noise. So you go away, and let's say it's your first job, or even college, maybe you could call that away, although obviously it's a combination of school and home. But yeah, so your third phase away, you're using what you can from the first two phases to try to put yourself in a position of your imagination or your future. So for the first time, really, you're taking what you've done and trying to build upon it. That's different. That's more like a co-creative effort. There's a lot you have to let go. There's a lot you have to add. The timeline becomes an issue. So that third phase is away. You're really starting to test what you believe. And then the fourth phase is other. That's when you elevate to something else completely, and you realize how much unlearning you have to do after you've done all of that learning. But there will be noise the entire way. So the sooner you learn how to deal with noise, not be traumatized by it, but deal with it. Some people are traumatized by it early, and then they know how to deal with it, but not in a healthy way. So the sooner you learn how to deal with noise, the sooner you realize it's just something that is inevitable. It helps the music. It's just like you can't make a song without silence. Well, you can't have peace without the noise. This basketball season has taught me so much. I think it'll take me 10 years to decompress it all. The gem of it is the character of the players. I was missing it for a large portion of the season because, to be honest, they just weren't doing what I asked, and that's understandable. I'm very understanding in that capacity, but it was so extreme that I was like, oh nah, this is too much stress. I don't get it. And then it finally clicked. I realized they're in a different reality. They don't have to do all the fearful measures that we had to do to survive. They can afford to be brave. In fact, they might have to be brave. And some of that bravery, I don't have the ability to understand it as bravery, so I'm gonna label it as something else, unsafe or detrimental to something. But it clicked recently. I said, oh, sometimes there's a time to rage, and I think they understand that, and they're raging when it might actually be appropriate. And then sure enough, we had 3 games back to back where I could recognize something that I'm pretty sure most people didn't realize. I don't want to get into it right now, but let's just say this. The last game we played, I didn't even know they had black players until the very end when we were shaking hands. We lost by 3. It was a tough loss. But at the end, we're shaking hands. And I see all these black. I said, oh, damn, y'all on the team? I said, damn, they don't play as black players. And I heard him say, yo, you heard? They know. I'm like, what is going on here? It is 2023. And then I remembered that was the same coach from Brooklyn College who now is no longer coaching at Brooklyn College for something that tracks with the realization. And then that was the last game. The game before that, and then the game before that, there was similar vibes. And so it was only fitting that yesterday we had a professional development, the classic DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. And I just had a real moment where I remembered the real work gets drowned out by the noise. And that's okay. To a point. Sometimes the only way to cut through the noise is to. So, it's been quite a learning experience. I'm super grateful, but whole point of this coach life is noise. Ciao.